Good morning, all of you. Let's continue with the today's class. So, so as we have started a 4 to 5 days back, so we have understand the couple of what is Power BI and what is Power BI Desktop. In Power BI Desktop, we are in the detailed discussion of the each and every topic. In the day two, we have understand what is the difference between direct query and import method, and also we started with a simple example of the what is the difference between slicer and then filter, and we understand the four types of filters. Then the day three, drill through filters we understand, and all the table level or column level properties, all the column level or table level properties we understand. And then so we also understand the data modeling concept, and yesterday we understand the what is the each and every tab we are trying to understand. For example, what is a home button, and what is a view button, and what modeling will do, what modeling will do. And if you select any of the visual, then we could able to see the two more menu option called format or data or drill. So so let's continue today's session. I think we have a couple of options pending in the modeling here. The mainly, as I told you, this all will repeat. For example, manage relationships already we have discussed. New measure, new column, new table, new parameters. Everything will be these are three concepts already we covered, and also as part of DAX. I'm sorry. So as part of DAX, again we are going to cover the new measure, new column, new table. It will be around 8 to 10 hours of time we are going to spend the only DAX. So that time we will discuss like all these properties and all. And even if you go to home button, so as I told you already in the eight queries only meant for the formatting options or transformations and something and all. So here also if you go to transform, we have lots of formatting options. That time we will discuss. Okay. So the next topic is there are two important topic here, that is called manage roles or view as a role. Manage role or view as a role. So what is a manage role or view as a role? So after this two topic, we are going to start with the all the visualizations. So today's topic is, anyone want this notepad, just ping me in the WhatsApp, I will share in the later. Manage roles or view as a role. So for followed by we'll discussion of the all the visualizations, and then probably after 2-3 days of time we are going to start with the edit queries as well. So what is the role first of all? What is the first of all? So let's take a simple example. I hope all of you guys working in some of the companies, correct? So we have a concept called employee concept, and then we have a concept called manager, and we have a concept called directors, or even CEO, something like this. See, EVO. So what I mean to say, everybody has come across with the office portals. For example, employee portal. If you want to see your employee details, when is your joining date and how much salary we are getting, pay slip, and there might be some portals will be there, right? There might be some portals will be there. So assume that if you logging is with our credentials, for example, employee credential to portal, what I can do, if I log in, I could able to see my only my information. For example, my salary and my joining date, and if any important notifications for me, then I could able to see all the information. Whereas in, for example, if my manager able to log in his credentials, my manager logins with his credentials, what will happen? Under his, for example, assume that employee 1 is there, I assume that employee 2 also available, employee 3, and so on, so n number of employees available under one manager. Will you agree or not? Can anyone confirm? Are you guys able to understand? Abhay, are you there?
Yes, brother.
Because it's a little bit important topic. Without roles, there won't be any of the Power BI project, or there won't be any interview, I'm sure. So whenever you want to give the, for example, let's say if I want to give the, for example, let's take an example. For example, if you have 1,000 employees in a company or in an organization, so we cannot give the access to 1,000 people, right? One by one. So instead of that one, what we are going to do? We are going to create a roles first. For example, roles one. Let's say manager role. Let's say manager role. The another one is I'm going to create as a like employee role or developer role. I could say developer role. So what I'm going to do, for example, my ID. For example, so bala at the rate triplex.com. So my ID, if I adding under developer to role, then what will happen? This role we are going to restrict it to like limited functionality. Whereas I'm adding as a something called abcd at the rate triplex.com. Assume that this is my manager email ID. So if this email ID, if I add to this particular role, what will happen? This role might be higher role, right? So you could able to see the like more privileges we need to provide for this particular roles. Okay. So I hope you guys understand. So let me create two roles. So I don't have the employee manager role concept here. I don't have proper data. So instead of that one, what I can do, I can create by using geography. For example, one for Australia employees. So another one for, let's say, Canada role. Canada role. Two roles I'm going to create. Let's say if any employee belongs to Australia country, he could be able to see the only Australia region information or country information. If any employee belongs to Canada country, that employee could be able to see the only Canada related sales or orders or whatever it may be. That is what I'm going to do. So let's move on. So I'm sharing my screen and I'm just going to the home button, sorry, the modeling tab. Click on the manage role. Before that, we should know where is the geography table available. Anyhow, last 4 days we have been working on the same tables only. Here we have English country region name under dim geography table. Also we have the sales data under sales data table, and the make sure that we are going to apply filter something like this. So what I'm going to do, like where I think let's move on. So if I talk like theoretically, you may not be able to understand. So manage roles. Listen carefully. What is the role I'm going to create? There are two roles I'm going to create, one for Australia, one for Canada. So now click on the create button. The role name is, as I said, Australia. and this role has to be filtered for geography wise. Go to geography, click on this icon, add a filter based on which column you are going to filter the data. See this one, there is a country column name, right? English country region name, and what is the value you are going to provide. So click on save button. Now same way, again go to manage roles, create a role. The one more is Canada, and add a filter, English country region name, and Canada. You can check the syntax. Click on save button. Click on save button. Now, how do you test it? That is what the bigger question, right? How do you test it? That is what the bigger question. Now we have to go with the view as a role. We have to go with view as a role. Now, as you could see here, as of now, we are not following any of the role, which means none. Anybody can able to log in. Anybody could able to see the data. But when I say the moment when I say Australia, listen carefully before selecting here role. One second. So I hope you guys can able to see the screen. Let me a little bit increase the font. Yamani, are you able to understand?
Yes, yes. Yes, I'm able to understand.
Perfect. So I'm just trying to increase the font so that you guys can able to easily understand. So anyhow, is giving warning symbol. So we are giving like more font or something. So just ignore it. So as you could see in the bottom, or let's say we have France data, we have Germany, we have UK, Canada, Australia, and also the here also US, Australia, United Kingdom. Let's say if I log in as a view as a role, Australia, I supposed to see the only Australia information. I supposed to see the only Australia information. That is what my intention, my role would be. So now just click on the OK button. See now, not only for one page, go to second page or duplicate of the page, detailed data. See, we have Australia data only. We have like drill through report. For example, this is a normal card we might have taken. So that is what about the view as a role and manager roles. So one second, let me test it for one more role also. Let's say Canada here. Okay, click on OK button. Now as you could see here, Canada. Now if I say both Australia comma Canada, it will get me the both data here. So what I mean to say, think of your companies. You will easily understand. Think of your company. For example, I'm working from Indian based company. So I'm interested about the my locality only. So I don't bother about the how many people are there in the Australia, how the business will be there in the Canada and all. So I'm working as part of Indian based company. I'm the salesperson. I'm worrying about the only my team only, and how it's working under me, and how the market is good or bad, those kind of information. Then I'm happy to see the only my information. So coming to security here, there are two things here. For example, manage role, and these two topics are will comes under security. Keep in mind. So one is role based security. That is what we are discussing. Role based security or row based security. Okay, so don't get confused. Role based is nothing but, for example, we have to create some roles and we have to assign the users to that particular role. So that has to be done in Power BI service. So we need to publish first now. We need to go to the app.powerbi.com. There you will see these two roles. There we need to add the users to the that particular role. That will be taken care of the as part of Power BI service. As I mentioned already, that will be taken care when the Power BI service will come into picture. So one second, where is that? As part of security, we understand what is role-based security and row-based security and manage role, view role. This is called, static security, I could say. So security can be classified into types as a two or two types of security. Just for your understanding, I'm giving as two types of security. One is static security. What is the meaning of static security? Can anyone tell me what is static security? Another one is a dynamic security. Dynamic security. I'm sorry. So right now how it will works, we need to create the role first, and then we need to view as a role, and whenever users are logging in, for example, as you can see here, right side corner, I have logged in already with my user ID. What will happen? So my user ID will check. My user ID will check whether I belongs to Australia, Canada, or India, or what other country. If I belongs to India, I could able to see the only India data only. If I belongs to Canada, I could able to see the only Canada data only. That is what about the. So usually what we need to do, we need to add manually. We need to add this manually. One second. So we need to add manually this user to this particular role. Users to this particular role. For example, for time being, I'm stopping recording. I will showcase. So that is what about the what is the roles, manage roles, and view as a role. The next topic would be as per our schedule. We are supposed to discuss about the all the discussion of the visualizations. The first one is let me take a fresh window. So go to the bottom. Let me switch the user first. View as a none. Okay. Perfect. So I'm taking as a fresh page. I hope you guys know how to take the page and all. And the as part of my uh, trainings or discussions, I'll be covering all the visualizations except one or two. And we will start with a simple example. For example, we have I usually start from these two card visualizations or multi-row card. Then we'll probably will discussing about the tabular report or matrix report or slicer is there or like a hierarchy slicer, timeline slices. Okay, so these two are custom visuals. What is the meaning of custom visuals? For example, okay, ignore it if I talk now. So this is difficult. So the number one card visual, the number two multi row card, multi row card. Now let me keep the cursor. If you don't know what is the name of the visualization, so no need to worry. Just to keep the cursor of the any of the visual, you could be able to see the names. So since it is a very smallest property or smallest visual, I'm going to cover this one. Click on the card now, and we need to display we need to take the measure value. What are the measure value we are going to display on top of card? What is the meaning of measure here? For example, total sales amount. Total sales amount. If you see this one, there is a fields property and format and analytics. And coming to field, we have been discussing from the day one. And we discussed all the filters concept already. And if you see this one, we are getting only one, that is called as a fields. Okay, and now I'm taking one more like a bar chart. Assume that stacked column chart. Now see this one. I'm getting the axis, I'm getting legend, I'm getting value. So color saturation and tool tips. When I scroll down, then filters concept will come. Filters anyhow, this is common for all the visualizations. We have to understand these 4 or 5 options or 6 to 7 options will keep on changing. We need to understand what is the value, what is the color saturation, what is the tool tip, what is the legend, what is the axis. So time being, just understand based on the visual, these field properties will keep on changing. So just remove this one, select the visualization of card. So the fields, only one property is there, that is called as a fields. For example, I want to get as a, here I wanted to get the sales amount. Here I want to get the sales amount. Bottom I want to display like number of orders we got it. Then it is not possible. For example, I'm taking as order quantity also. See, now it is not allowing me to take. Or if you drag and drop, see, it is overriding the sales amount column. So that is a limitation, I could say. That is a limitation or normal functionality of the card, which will take only one measure value. Which will take only one measure value. And if you have a situation you want to find out from day one to till now, how many orders we got it, like one single numeric value, one scalar value, if you want to display, then always go for the card visualizations. I'm repeating, if anybody asks you when do you go for the card, the answer is very simple. It will display only the scalar numeric value. If you have a situation you want to display the like number of customers available in my company, or number of employees available in my company, or what is the total sales in my table level, or what is the orders, how many orders we got it from till one, I mean day one to till now, then we can go for the card visualization. So nothing much about the fields here. We have only one property, but you'll go to the format option here. So the what are the format options you guys can see here? It can be a data label, category label, wrap the text, sorry, word wrap, background, lock aspect, border, and title and general. If you understand one visual, all this property will be repeated on the each and every visual. So to be honest, if we discuss detail level 1 or 2 or 3 visuals by spending 1 hour of time, the next visual would be the 70% property will repeat. The whatever new property that we can discuss and moving forward. Okay, fine. So just go to the format option. First, let me increase the border here, like enable the border on or off, and the border color also available. Like what is the color you want? For example, if I say this one, there is a thin border is becoming when I click on the outside, and that is what about the border here. So here we don't have control here, like whether you increase the thickness or decrease the thickness at the moment in the border only I'm talking. So if you don't like, revert to default. Now it will be on the normal default color, or if you want to make it as a different color, you can do it. That is what about the border property. And the next one is, what is the data labels? So data label, if you want to understand better, always what you can do, increase the text size. For example, you don't know what is the data label, then try to increase the property. Now see, the value is getting increased, 60k is getting increased, which means data label is nothing but the what are the total number we are displaying on the card. So it is displaying in the terms of thousands, for example 60,000. So if you don't like to go for the display here, you can have like a display units here and expand this one, make it as a none. It will display the actual number in the database. And thousands and millions and billions, since we have only 60,000, it is not showing in the billions. Whereas Whereas if you have sales amount column, whereas I'm sorry, whereas what is the column name? That is, I think it's a measure name. I'm drug. Take the sales amount, go to formatting option, data labels, make it as auto, showing as a millions. If you make it as a none, original value. If I make it as a millions, see this one, 29 millions data. Based on the data volume, automatically it will taken care. If you have the like only 60,000, if you're converting as a million, you'll be getting 0.0000 something. So you won't get anything on this particular one. That is what about the sales amount. I will back to the order quantity here. Back to the, it is a none value. None means the original value will be displayed here. If you don't like this color, even you can change it or go to custom color. What are the color you want, you can take down. That is up to you guys. Just play with the colors. Okay. Or you can back to the normal decent colors. Let's I'm going with the default color as a thick black color. So decimal values. See, for whenever taking the orders, we don't require any decimals. For example, if you still want to make it as a decimal values, like sometimes what will happen, the sales amount will be displayed in the decimals. You don't want a decimal, then you can make it as 0, or you want to increase the decimal, 4 decimal, 5 decimal, you can try this property. Okay. And the font family, like we have same like MS Word, we have Arial Black and Calibri. I mean, if you have the text columns, I will showcase this font family in the text columns. So that is what about the data label. Data label is nothing but the value which are displaying on the screen, that particular property. I'm making as 0. The next one is category label. Category label in the sense like the name which displaying just bottom to the 60,000 order quantity. That is what about the category label. So if you disable this one, see this one, the order quantity has gone. Listen carefully. There is a small icon here like order quantity. If you're not able to visible, just increase the size. See now. Let me increase the color also. Both are black color. And font family, now you can understand. See the bold thickness, Arial, it is changing. Now see the Calibri. And let's say whatever you want, like so these kind of formats can be possible. That is what about the category label. If you don't like to display here, you can disable it. It's up to you guys. The next one is word wrap. This I can showcase the tabular report. For example, if you go to detail level, listen carefully. Here also we have a concept called word wrapping. Where is the word wrapping here? Yeah, column headers. There is an option called word wrapping. Listen carefully. I am just going for the column header properties. See, once again I'm repeating this table level property. We'll discuss detail. Just think of only word wrap only. Okay. So for first column, listen, is a bigger name. I'm just scrolling little bit left side. Okay. Listen carefully. It's automatically going to second line, third line, or fourth line. Based on the width of the column value, automatically adjusting. Okay, that is what about the, if you enable the word wrap, automatically the word will be wrapped. Let's say I'm disabling this one. Now listen carefully. Now see, when I scroll or minimize, the column is hiding. Sorry. So which means we cannot able to see the column name properly, which will be hidden or hidden. That is what, if you want to display based on the width, second line, third line, fourth line, then you should enable this one. That's it. So that is what about the word wrapping concept. We'll move to the our this one. Let me rename this page also. For example, card. So the next property would be background image. I'm sorry, it's not a background image. It is a background color. So as of now, is pure white color will be there. Just disable this one And if you want to give different color, you can try this soft shows. Okay. And transparency, how thickness you want, just take however you want, have it. I'm okay with this thickness. If you want to revert back, revert to default option. That is what about the background here. So lack expect, I'm just ignoring right now. So for me it is not working as expected. I will come up with a better example. Okay. And the next one is the border, already we have discussed just now. On top of end of the each square, it will display as a like a different color if you want to display, or if you want to keep it as a default color as a black. So the last property, probably there is a concept called title here. So title is nothing but something, here I would like to give as a one name here. For example, let's say I would like to give the total orders, something like this. Then enable the title. Okay. Expand. Now by default no names available, like a total orders available, total orders available. Now center, what is the meaning of center? As you can see here, the smaller total orders are there. So first let me straight away increase the font. Now see, the total orders are coming. So let me change the background color so that we can easily understand. I'm changing to this one, or we'll move to this color. Font color I will make it as a white, and family make it as a thickness. Now a little bit reduce. Now is okay for me. It looks like decent now. Now left element, see the center element or right element. That is what about the text. Still what you can do, this is disable enable. If you don't like the again this one, you can enable and disable. Now keep in mind, whenever enabling the text, there is no point of disable enable the category labels here. Yes or no? The moment when we have the borders, sorry, a title, the moment when we have the titles, where is the title? Okay. So when we have the title, when we enable the title, there is no point of having this category. We can disable this one. See this one now is okay, right? So that is what about the title, and now is better. Now is better, or if you want more, you can keep it as a more closer also, but change the font. Now it looks decent color, and you feel like this value is too bigger, you can adjust like this. You can adjust like this also. So that is what about the border here. Border and general is nothing but x position, y position, width. For example, if you say width is like 500, see this one is increasing little bit, or you can manually, you can drag and drop also. You can try this one. For example, I'm giving as a 300. Now click on the outside, see, automatically it will be, the width will be adjusted. So that is what about the width. Height also same way, and x position, y position. What is the meaning of height here? For example, 300. Now see, this is what called as the height. Okay. And if you little bit right or left side, if increasing like this is called as a width. That is what called as a width and height. Same way x position, y position. For example, see this one, starting from the left side, like how much this one. For example, let's say I'm just giving as 100. Okay. From here, from the left side, where do you want to place it? That is what about the x position actually. And if you want to make it as a y position, then you can start playing with the y position also. So that is what about this one. So any questions on the card till now? Anyone has any questions? Can we change the position of the category label? Okay, for example, I'm selecting the card, going here. There is a category label here. I'm just enabling now. Okay. So you mean to say you want to display this order quantity into left or right or bottom. You want to move to this order quantity here. That's what your question, is it? That is not possible, Sarik. Here in the card is not possible, but there is a concept called x-axis, y-axis. So x-axis value or y-axis value you can move either left or right side. So in the card is not possible. Any other questions? Okay then. So we are good with the card and the first visual we understand completely. So sometimes what will happen, let me disable this category label. Sometimes what will happen, the orders I want to split into like multiple cards. Let's say there is a one card here. There is a, I'm just going to split like this. Let's say here, for example, country wise, for Canada country or Australia country, what is the value? For America, what is the orders we are getting? So if you want to split the same number into each country wise or each yearly basis, then we need to go for the multi-row card. Multi-row card. For example, next to the row card, there is an option called multi-row card. Multi-row card. So now see the box also. When you say the card, as you can see here, the symbols, this is having the smaller boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like this. It is has only one box. This is a bigger one. I mean to say by saying the symbol also you could able to understand a little bit. So I'm taking little bit bigger size, and I will go with the same example first. Same example. Let's say order quantity. So here also we have to understand we have the only one fields only. Only one fields only. Let me understand. If I add the sales amount, or first we will do the little bit formatting. So we know I want a border and the background also let me enable. Let me go the same color. Transparency little bit okay, I think is both are matching. So let me increase the font. Where is the font here? Go to format option, data labels, and make it as a thick. Okay, so now perfect. So we can make it as a boldness if required, or I can go with the Calibri or anyone is fine. I'm just playing with this. That's it. Okay, that is what about the data label already we have discussed, and category is already got enabled. That's why you could able to see the order quantity here and make like thick colors. You could able to understand now that is what about the category labels also. So if you ask me, there is a one property here extra, that is called as a card here. That is a card here. Before the card, let's go to the format field option, sorry. And let's say if I add the sales amount here, will it allow? Where is this one? Yeah, I'm adding one more like a sales amount. See now, I'm repeating, if you go to normal card, if you're selecting here and if you want to add a sales amount, the existing order quantity will be overwritten. But whereas in multi-row card, as you could see here, it is allowing the multi measures or more than one measure, or even I'm adding as a tax amount also. So it is add multiple measure values. That is a 1.1 difference between the normal card and the multi-row card. The next one is will it allow only measures, or let's say by default if I go for the dimension, for example country wise, will it allow? See this one, it is working fine. So that means it is splitting the same order quantity across the country values. So that is what about the field and defenses. I mean to say nothing much about the field. Here also we have only one option called fields only, but it will allow multiple measures and dimensions. Now go to the format option. So these two we understand just now, what is the data labels and category labels. And if you don't like the labels, you can disable this one. Then you may not be able to understand it is order quantity or sales amount. It is order quantity or sales amount. Just enable this one so that better visibility we have. Now the card title. You guys know what is the title of this one. If you want to enable the title, you can enable the title here and change a different color. You can understand. See this one, United States, and make it as a bold. That is what about the under US. There is a order quantity. There is a sales amount. That is what about the card titles. What is the meaning of card here? Card in the sense like again this same US, Australia, this card only. If you go like first of all, as I told you, just try to increase the bar color or background color so that you can easily understand. Let's say when I change the background color, now see the complete card is getting changed. Complete card is getting changed. Now if you got a little bit purple color or what other color you would like to have it, you can have it. So I'm just going with the revert to default value. I don't want any background color. That is what about the background. And show bar, as you can see here, if you disable this one, just try to understand before this each country there is a small line is coming here, small line is coming. So that is what about the show bar. If I change the color, I'm sure you will understand. If I change the color, let's say yellow, that is not uh, make it as this one, see now. And the bar thickness, we will increase this one. Now as you can see here, that is what about the show bar before the each country or each value. We will get a little bit bar. If you don't like this one, your job is easier. If you enable this one, then you need to see the color, you need to see the thickness, and that is what about this one. Now next, padding is nothing but something, the space between the multiple values. See now when I decrease this one, now is the values are very closer values. See this one, the whole will be becoming as a one line here. So whenever you want to give the little bit space, then you can give a little bit like spacing between the multiple. That is what about the padding option. So I hope we covered bars, bar color, thickness, padding, and background. So what is the outline here? Outline is nothing but like outside border. That's it. So it's showing as a like a top and bottom, top and bottom. There is a this I think outline color. Let me change it. See this one, when I make it as a none, I don't see the two more properties here. When I say uh, top and bottom, there is outline color and weight also coming. These two properties only visible whenever you enable the outline. So since it's a white color, we are not able to understand. Let me bring different color. Now see this one. That is what I've outlined. I set as a top and bottom only. If you want only bottom only, it will be bottom only. Or if you want to make it as a left side only, see this one, little bit color is coming, and if you make it as a right side, you will get as only right side only. So thickness also you can increase how thick it is want. That is what about I will go with the top and bottom just for your understanding only. Okay, so we are good with the card. First four properties. So background already we have discussed, and the lock aspect, as I told you, ignore this time being, and border and title. If you want to enable title, you can enable the title and give the more values. Okay, so that is what about the what is a card and multi-row card. So anyone has any questions? So okay, so how many are able to understand? I'm worrying about you only.
Yes, I'm able to understand.
Okay, super. So the as part of training, we will be continuing with the next couple of visuals. Couple of visuals in the sense, the only visual would be like we'll start from the slicer. You start from the slicer. This is also smaller property. This is also smaller property, and there is a hierarchy slicer. So this is a custom visual. For example, delete custom visuals. I added as part of maybe previous classes. Okay. So if you guys opened, you will see like this only. So last two visuals you may not be able to see. Whatever right now is showing, you could be able to see this one. So apart from this default visuals, so now if you go for delete a custom visual, nothing is there because all are like a pre-defined visuals. So don't worry about that point. Whatever I deleted, just ignore it. You no need to think of also. I'm going to showcase again how to download the custom visual and how to make use of this one. So the next concept would be slicer. So I will show you just what is slicer today and we will discuss more about that tomorrow. Let's say already we have been using slicer is nothing but to filter the report data. I'm repeating, slicer is used to, for example, I'm taking a one slicer and just minimize how much width you want, just keep it align it wherever you would like to be. Let's say here I don't want to showcase all the country information. I'm just going to give the user to friendly option like what are the country you would like to display. For example, you want to display only Australia or Canada. So right now is okay, only 6 countries, but assume that in the real time if they have business in the more than 50 20 countries or 100 countries, then they can't scroll down and they can see, right? You need to give the flexible user to select the what other country you want. So then we need to go for the slicer and I'm taking as English country region name. As you can see, slicer also will be allowing only one field. The moment when you add a city, that value will be overwritten. See this one. Let me quickly increase the font. Let me quickly increase the font. Where is the font items? Okay. And that is what about the this one. This also will be overwritten. This also will expect only one value. That is what about the country values here. So now select the France. See now only France will be selected. And second one, it is not allowing to go for the multi-select option. By default, it will be single selection. Now that is what about the all the properties will come into picture. To be honest, you know general and you know background color, lock aspect, border and title. The only property which we need to discuss. Selection control, header. Sorry, header also we discussed already. The only property which we need to discuss is the items and the selection control. That's what I told you. If you're discussing first five or I mean 5 to 6 visuals deeper, then rest of the visual property will remain. So the next one is select this visual, go to the selection control. As I shown you, it is not allowing for the multi-select option. So if you want to enable multi-select, there is an option called single select. Disable this one. Now go on check. See, it is allowing for the multi-select option. That is about the single property. And sometimes what will happen, I should allow, for example, select all option. Now if I want to have all the visuals, sorry, all the country value, if I want to select, then we don't have select all option, just enable the select all option. So now see, we got the select all or disable all. For example, Canada. Now select everything but except Canada. So that case, this select all property will be very handy. Select all property will be very handy, and that is what about the selection control pane. And we have headers. You guys know already his header is displaying here. English country is the name. And let's say increase the font if you want. Okay, so if you want to rename this header, is it possible to rename? Yes, possible, but you need to go for the title here. Enable the title and go for the custom name. For example, country names. Country names. So now center align. Now let's increase the font. Now tell me then what is the point of having the header and title? So keep in mind, if you want a title, always good practice to disable the headers. Always good practice to disable the header. If you want header, then don't go for the title. Disable the title. Okay. So that is what about the header. Header color also you can change it if you want. Sorry, it's a font color. I will go for font as this one, background as okay. And outline. So as I told you already, outline you guys know, and thickness. Maybe I can go for Calibri and increase the font a little bit more. So that is what about the what is slicer. We understand. We understand selection control, header, and items are nothing but font here. Like if you want to decrease the total, you can increase the total value and format family and outline top or bottom. That is, we will be thick lines will be getting, and color of the background also. If you want to change it, you can change it. And here we don't have transparency. Make it as a like a light colors means like a little bit something like this. Font color also you can change it if you want. So that is what about the slicer with all the property. Slicer with all the property. There is a one small property will be available. If you go to here, if you keep the cursor, there is a small type. Select a type of slicer you want. Or let me go to the header. Revert to default. Now see this one, when I keep the cursor, as you can see, clear the selection. For example, if you click on the clear, the all will be cleared. Whatever the selection, for example, Germany, France. Now see it's got selected, right? Just keep the cursor, clear everything. Everything will be gone. The next one will be Germany and France. So clear it. It will everything will be removed. The next clear option, there is an option called drop down. Select the type of slicer you want. Now this time is okay here, only six country available, so we don't have any issue with the spaces. For example, assume that I have a city column, I don't want this one, I'm adding as a cities in the slicer. Now see how many, so it will eat your, it will take all our spaces, right? Then it's difficult, so better to make it as a list or drop down. When I say drop down, see, doesn't matter, this much space is enough for me. Whenever you want, click on this one, just scroll down, select it whatever you want, and you can what do you call this one, for example, select this one. It is showing maybe this city we don't have any orders, that's why it's selecting like this. So let me revert back to the clear everything. I want to have the country only time being. So that is what about the drop down or this one. And also, so each visual level there is a more options, and there is a more options. Each and every visual there is a more options, so it will take another 5 or 10 minutes of time. Even this property will repeat on each and every visual. We will move to the tomorrow class. Okay, so that's all for today. We will continue same timing tomorrow, and if you guys don't have any questions, you can drop it now.